Okay, necklace is good, no bra straps, hair is meh. Hi friends, welcome to Love and Life's Journey DIY. I'm Chantel. Thank you so much for tuning in. I had so much fun in my last video creating these Christmas projects behind me for Christmas in July that I decided to do another video with some more Christmas projects before July is over. So let's jump in and get started. For the main supplies for these projects, I tried to get things that are available in stores year-round. I picked up this set of trays. It was a set of 3 for $10 at Walmart. And I'm going to show you 3 different ways to DIY these. I love the finish on them, so I am not going to change that at all. So these 3 DIYs are going to be really simple to do. For the middle-sized tray, I am going to use some tissue paper and some Mod Podge, as well as just a scrap of ribbon that I already had on hand. And this is not particularly a Christmas ribbon. You could use any ribbon that kind of coordinates with your tissue paper. So I decided I wanted to use several layers of the tissue paper, so I left it folded and it fit in this tray perfectly. And then I'm just going to crease it where I need to cut it off, and then I'll cut that so that it fits right in the bottom of the tray. Then I'm going to put a coat of this matte finish Mod Podge on the bottom of the tray. And then I'm going to add my tissue paper. Now, a mistake I made here was I just left the 3 layers of tissue paper all together. I should have cut them apart and done 1 layer at a time. It made it really difficult to keep everything lined up and not have it get all wrinkly. So I wanted to use more than 1 layer of tissue paper because I wanted the design to be a little bit more prominent. So that's why I decided to go with 3 layers of the tissue paper. I just liked the dimension that it gave, the design on the bottom, but like I said, it was really hard to keep it from getting too wrinkly. So lesson learned, I will do 1 layer at a time. And then once I had the tissue paper stuck down, I added a layer of Mod Podge over the top, and again, this would definitely be better doing each layer by itself, but I did put a second coat over the top of this after it had dried, and it actually came out pretty well. Next, I'm going to wrap my ribbon around the outside of the tray, tie a bow in the front, and I will secure it with a little bit of hot glue. Then I just trim the ends of the ribbon and it's finished. For the large tray, I found a design on Cricut Design Space to cut out on some vinyl, and I am using this to decorate the tray. Now, if you don't have a cutting machine, don't worry, there are some other alternatives, and I will be showing you one of those on the smaller tray here coming up. But one thing you can do is to print off a design just off of the internet on regular printer paper. Use that as your pattern, and use some graphite paper or transfer paper and trace the design onto your tray and then paint it. Obviously, using a cutting machine is a lot easier, but you may not have that, so that's an alternative. Now, I did want to try the transfer paper from Dollar Tree, and so I'm going to use that and see how it works on this project. I have heard some reviews that it's pretty sticky and is a little bit difficult to remove, so we're going to test it out. Now when placing this in the tray, I just barely set it in there so that I could pick it up and reposition it until I got it in the exact spot that I wanted. So I did find that the Dollar Tree, the Crafter's Square transfer paper or transfer tape or whatever it's called, was pretty sticky, and it was a little bit harder to get off. In fact, it pulled a little bit of the paint off of the tray, not much, but just a little bit. And so I would be kind of picky about what surfaces I use this on. And now I'm going to put a coat of Mod Podge over the top. I'm using the matte finish Mod Podge and just making sure to get as many of the brush strokes out as possible. And this will just help seal that vinyl on and keep it from peeling up. And I love how this turned out. This would make such a nice Christmas gift. Add some homemade cookies and maybe some cocoa and maybe even a blanket. Could add a movie and make it like a whole gift for a family. Just would be a really fun gift to give and to receive. So another option if you don't have a cutting machine is to use these window clings or the decals from Dollar Tree. And I am just choosing a few from some that I picked up last year, and I'm going to just attach these using Mod Podge again. I'm just going to put some Mod Podge underneath the window cling to stick it to the tray, and then I will put a coat of Mod Podge over the top to seal it down. And by using the matte finish Mod Podge, it will take away a lot of that shiny look that those window clings have. And look how cute these two trays go together as a set. For this next DIY, I'll be using this little sign I picked up last year at Dollar Tree, but you can find them when they carry their fall and Halloween decor and even other holidays. And then I am also using these letters that I picked up at Walmart in the craft section. They're just a little over $1 each. And like the trays, I really like the finish on them, so I'm not going to be changing that. I'm also going to be using some of this decorative filler. You can get this at Dollar Tree now, even though it looks Christmassy. I have seen it in the craft and floral sections at Dollar Tree. And then I am just going to be using a little bit of this red and white twine. You can pick this up at Dollar Tree as well. And then just a little sprig of berries and pine. To start off, I'm just going to paint this little sign using some black chalk paint. And then while that is drying, I am going to take my letters, and I started adding the embellishments here, but you'll see in a little bit I actually painted on the back of these letters. So I would recommend doing that first before you add any embellishments to them, but you know, it didn't dawn on me until later. That's what I'm here for, to figure these things out and tell you about them to save you the trouble. So now that my black paint is dry, I'm going to take some white paint and a dry brush, and then I'm going to just put a little bit of paint on this brush and brush it across just to dry brush and add a little bit of an accent and give it more of that farmhouse look. So here's where it dawned on me that the back of the letters were just boring brown. So I took some of that white paint and just went over the back of the letters, obviously not covering the whole thing because I wanted it to look kind of like the front. And so I just went over those and did that with all three of them. Now I had already put the string on this J, so I just kind of carefully went around it. Then I measured to find the center of my sign and just put a mark so I would know right where to glue the O. And then I'm going to secure that with some hot glue, just being careful not to get too much glue so it doesn't look globby. Is globby a word, or did I just make that up? I probably made it up. So once I have the O glued in the center, I can add the J and the Y, and I didn't measure these, I just kind of eyeballed it to see how I liked the look of it. Next I'm going to add that little bit of a pine branch. I just bent it in half and I'm putting it at the base of the O. I'm adding a little pine cone and a little sprig of berries, and then I'm going to tie a little bit of that red and white twine around the Y, and then I think that's all I'm going to do for embellishing the letters. I wanted to keep it kind of simple, just so that it wasn't too much. Then I'm going to take some of the thin jute twine from Dollar Tree and wrap it around the base about 3 times and tie it off in the back. For this next DIY, I am going to be using this planter box that I made in a previous DIY video, and I will link that in the card above if you want to see how I made it using all Dollar Tree items. But you could use any container for this, because I'm going to be showing you how to make a floral arrangement that you can use for Christmas, but you can use it all winter long as well. And I'm going to be using these large magnolia flowers that I picked up at Walmart. Now these are $3 a piece, but they are a really big size and are really beautiful. I'm also going to be using some of the greenery and berries from this bunch that I picked up last year at Walmart. If you have any greenery on hand, you can just use that. And then these were from Dollar Tree last year, and they have kind of the crystals in them. I think those are really pretty. And then I'm going to be using some of these LED lights from Dollar Tree as well. Just this week I did find these longer strings of LED lights at Walmart for just $3, and I thought that was a really good deal. They were near the Florals. So for this container, I thought it would be easier if I added some floral foam. So I just have some of this that I picked up at Dollar Tree, and I'm going to cover the bottom of my container with floral foam. And then I'm going to cover that with some Spanish moss. Then I'll trim off those big long ends of the magnolias using some wire cutters. And then I'm just going to place those in the center of my planter. Now I've always heard when you're doing florals that you should do things in threes, but these flowers were so big, I kind of felt like 3 of them would be a little too much, so I'm just using 2. If any of you are floral designers out there, let me know. Is that true that you should always do things in 3s when you're doing florals? Then I'm going to cut off some of the greenery. I like this because it is the frosted, kind of looks like it has snow on it. It'll be perfect for a winter arrangement. And then I'm just going to start filling in with the greenery around my flowers. So here's a fun fact. When I was in college, they had us take a career aptitude test, and my top 2 professions that they suggested for me were 1, funeral director, and 2, florist. So I don't know, maybe I missed my calling. I can see florist, but I don't know about funeral director. So now I'm going to add in some of these little twigs that look like they have ice crystals on them. And I'm not going to just stick the whole thing in there because I think that will just look cheesy and wrong. So I'm just cutting off some small pieces of these and placing about 4 or 5 of them around. And this just gives it a little accent and gives it more of a high-end look. Now I could totally stop here and be great for winter, but I am going to add some of these little LED wire lights from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to tuck that battery pack in the back corner and then just wind these around. The trick with these is to hide the wire as much as you can, so really all you see are the lights. And so, to do that, you kind of tuck the wire inside the greenery and kind of down underneath the flowers, and then just pull up where the lights are so that they show but the wires don't. And you just have to keep working with it until you get it how you like it. And then if you want to add a little color for Christmas, just add some red berries to this and it just makes it pop, and it's a beautiful arrangement for Christmas. And then as soon as Christmas is over, you can take out those red berries and it's gorgeous for winter. Let me know in the comments if you have enjoyed these Christmas in July projects. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. And also, I would love to know if you're ready to start seeing some fall ideas for DIYs and decorating, or if you're not quite ready for that, just let me know. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a blessed day.